like MAME with the MAME team and MESS, the MESS emulator, and different open source projects, and just overall general hacker.
All right, that's pretty good. I wouldn't.
What about you? What are you up to?
It's pretty modest sounding, but I know you do a lot more than that. Mine pales by comparison, man. I'm Patrick Wheeler, and coder by day, and general do house chores around the house at night.
Sleeper by night.
Yeah, I was digging in the dark tonight trying to fix my sprinklers. So.
Oh man, how did that go?
It worked. I finally got it done in the pitch black, spraying myself with reclaimed water. So.
Oh, nice.
But it's all fixed now.
Oh man, I raked my yard and it's there's nothing underneath. Like the rake, I just kept raking. When I was done, there's just dirt.
Oh, man.
So I'm in pretty.
Coding
rough
is way
shape.
more fun than digging in the dirt.
Yeah, definitely. Agreed.
Man. Good stuff. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started here. So do you have any news for us, Jason?
Yeah, let's see. So, yeah, I guess we have this news about this PS3 hacker guy getting back at Sony, and Sony going back and forth with him. George Hotz, GeoHot is his internet pseudonym, and he's one of a group. I guess he's teaming up with Fail Overflow, which is another hacker group, and together they were able to hack the PS3. And this is pretty cool for people who want to sort of run homebrew software, whether it's emulators or just nice little apps. You want to just take advantage of the PS3 hardware in a way that no one else has really thought of. This gives you that opportunity. I think it's really interesting.
Yeah, I saw a little bit about that. The way he did it, he was able to figure out the private key for that Sony was using to sign its executables.
Yeah, so the key is all based on these random number generator, but they found out diving through the assembly code that the random number generator was just returning 6. So
that's so random.
Yeah, so totally the encryption completely falls apart when the RNG is just returning 6 the whole time. And between figuring that out and some other hacks in the hardware, they were able to completely unlock the PS3. And they were able to get to the point where now they can write, or you at home can write signed apps for the PS3. And the PS3 hardware thinks that you're a professional developer, even though you're some kid in your basement.
So that must make Sony pretty scared, right? I mean, no control of their platform now.
Yeah, I mean, Sony's lost that DRM that they were really trying to hold on to, and they'd prided themselves on being the only console that hadn't been hacked. So yeah, they're going and suing George Hotz, and they're also trying to shut down his website. It's gone so far, they actually commandeered the IP addresses of anyone who's been to his website and the username of anyone who's seen his YouTube video. So I mean, this is really starting to get into personal privacy.
That seems ridiculous.
I can't imagine that they can get away with stuff like that.
Yeah, visiting a website is now a crime.
Yeah, I mean, it's something straight out of 1984, right? They're going to start knocking on your door.
I'm not a lawyer, but that doesn't sound very good precedence to set.
No, definitely. I just hope that that they can appeal that, and then it can go further on in the courts and everything.
Is it too late though? If they already got all the IP addresses, and I mean, once you have that information, I guess the ISPs have to comply so they can figure out who those IP addresses really are. But
yeah, I don't know. Like, if you can appeal something like that, I'm assuming you can do it before they get the IP addresses.
Well, that's true. The judge orders whoever to turn over the IP address, but they don't do it immediately. They probably have time to do it.
Yeah, exactly. There's this awesome video. Let me see if I can find it here. These Fail Overflow guys going into explicit detail on what they how they pulled off this hack and everything.
Is this a watch at your own peril video?
Yeah, this is the kind of video that if you watch, you might end up as part of some court case. So let's put that disclaimer out there.
You might need to opt out next time you go to the airport if you watch this video.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they might take naked pictures of you if you if you watch this video. But yeah, we'll put it on the blog, link to it with a disclaimer.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
What about you? You got any news today?
Oh, man. So I saw today that Nokia is going to, try to sell off or relicense their QT And I guess this is as part of them switching from their own OS, the Symbian OS, I guess,
Yep.
to Windows 7, or at least have that emphasis. So as part of that, I guess they're trying to divest the Qt stuff.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense. Nokia's kind of in trouble, right? Because
Yeah.
they were doing so good. You know, they had such a huge market share originally because they didn't have any competition. Like once the smartphones started coming out, they were just really in trouble.
Well, this is interesting to me, from a technical standpoint, from the market, I guess not from the technical standpoint, from the market standpoint, though, that, and it's my understanding Nokia has a huge, market share in overseas. I know some people from Africa, and they were saying like all the phones there are Nokia, and they're mostly the, what do they call them? Feature phones, right? Not smartphones. So I
Yep.
don't, I guess it's a matter of pride for Nokia to say they have the best smartphone or a great smartphone. But it seems like you can make a pretty good living off of, dominating the non-smartphone market, which at this point is still bigger than the smartphone market.
Yeah, definitely. I think also another direction, another avenue that Nokia is trying to get into is the trying to cut into BlackBerry's market a little bit. They've been teaming with
Business.
Microsoft. Yeah, Microsoft's really the only person out there who can compete with BlackBerry on the enterprise level. I
Yeah.
mean, no one can sync with Outlook like Microsoft. You know what I mean?
I would hope.
So, yeah, yeah, maybe
At
not.
least at least Microsoft might be able to do it.
Yeah, potential is there.
Uh,
So if they team up, they might be able to edge BlackBerry out, which is just another competitor for BlackBerry. BlackBerry's, I think, in some trouble.
I think competition's good, drives innovation at some level. So
Yeah, it's true. There's competition on the, I guess the consumer side with the iPhone and the versus the Android. And so, but really BlackBerry's sort of in its own world, and
yeah.
corporations don't really have a choice right now.
So on that note, Friday iPad 2 is coming out. You gonna be in
Oh
line?
yeah, I'm thinking about it, but I'm just not sure. The Zune looks really good. It's kind of pricey though. In the end,
Yeah.
most users out there, don't need all that memory, all that
RAM? Speed?
what does it use? Does it use
Flash.
like Flash? Yeah,
Flash.
okay. Yeah, most people don't need that much Flash. I sure don't. I mean, my plan would be to put comics on there, and I could put just pretty much every I have every X-Men comic, and it's only like 4 gig. So
Yeah.
and I don't need all that on the pad. So the Zune's looking pretty good, but at that price point, I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to stick with the iPad too. Might be in line when it comes out.
Yeah, I think I'm probably gonna pass for now, but I think my dad's gonna get one, so that should be
Oh,
interesting.
really?
Yeah, my brother maybe too as well. So if they have them and are playing with them, I'll probably get envy and might show up with one shortly after.
Nice. Did either of them have a Mac, like a MacBook Pro or anything
No,
like that?
actually, interesting enough, nobody in my family has any MacBooks or Mac computers. We do almost all now have iPhones though.
Oh, okay. What
So
about iPods? Did you guys jump on the iPod thing?
no, no, had no interest in getting iPods.
Really?
Yeah, I mean the
Oh
iPod
man.
Touch, is really nice, but by the time I was interested enough to do that, I had an iPhone. So
Yeah, the iPod Touch came out a little bit too late. I think it
yeah,
actually didn't it come out after the iPhone or maybe like
I,
right around the
it
same
seems like
time?
it did. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, before that, I just had generic whatever, Sansa MP3 player.
Yeah.
it wasn't an Apple product.
So your dad isn't going to go for the Zune, I guess.
No, not the Zoom. I don't know.
Oh, Zoom, yeah.
Yeah, I thought you were saying Zoom, and I was just mishearing you. But okay, you
Yeah, I
were
don't
saying
know.
Zune, which is the Microsoft MP3 player.
Oh, is that what that is?
So now all our listeners are completely confused.
Yeah, everybody's just it's all over the
You can
place.
send emails care of Jason for confusing
Yeah,
you all.
so yeah, that's a good point. If you want to write hate mail, write it to P Wheeler. No, I'm just
Ah!
kidding.
Actually, you can send email. We have our email address, programmingthrowdown@gmail.com. They can
That's
send
right.
comments there. We'd
Yeah,
love
we're
to check
both
that.
we're both reading that, so
Yeah.
definitely, send us your comments, give us your feedback, tell us what languages you want, because we will learn just about anything, or at least
Oh, we
we'll
should
try
talk
to
about
learn
that.
anything.
Well, okay, hang on. One more news item I had. Facebook bought Beluga, and this is not terribly interesting in itself. Beluga is a group messaging app, I guess, that basically you send text messages to a Beluga number and the Beluga resends them out to people in your group. So it's a way like if, you and a group of friends go to a theme park, you can all keep in touch with each other over text messages and not have to pay to send it to four people, just to one number, and then that number will redistribute to everybody.
Oh, interesting.
So that's kind of interesting. And there's a couple other applications doing something similar. But then I saw some analysis where people are saying that they think Facebook's going to make a run at the SMS itself by every phone now having a Facebook application. If you can send SMS from within Facebook, that'll be data, not text messaging. And a lot of people will be happy to get rid of those expensive text messaging plans.
Oh, that is so, so good. That is fantastic news because SMS is just
It
ridiculous.
is a
They're just
ripoff.
making a killing off that.
Yeah. So that was the last bit of news I had. Okay, so now on to what you were talking about. So what is the purpose of this podcast, Jason? Why don't you tell us?
All right, let's take a shot at this. So, basically, what we want to do is throw down a new language every show. In this case, we're looking at making a show every couple weeks, and what we want to do is just take on a new language. We'll spend a couple of weeks beforehand learning it ourselves, and then we'll spend a couple weeks after, continuing what we've talked about and advancing on that. And the goal is just to learn new languages all the time, find out what languages are appropriate for what tasks, what are the pros and cons, all that good stuff, and to just share that knowledge with you guys out there, and to also, give you guys some more tools for the toolbox when you guys are out there, doing engineering and coding things up.
Yeah, tools for the toolbox. That's I always like to think about it that way.
Yeah,
The
definitely.
right tool for the right job.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays languages have come so far, and there are some languages that are so high level, and so efficient, such as Java and Python. And there are other languages that have been extremely optimized with SSE and different compiler tools. So namely C and C++. That you have a wide array of opportunity as a programmer.
Yeah, that's true. So, what languages right now, before we embark on this journey, what languages would you call yourself qualified to program in?
My favorite language has always been C++. That's what they taught us in school, in ninth grade or whatever. So been kind of sticking to that. But I'm also pretty familiar with C, like Java. I like Python a lot. I did a little bit of Lisp, and so I'm starting to get into Scheme a little bit just to understand it. But yeah, I'd say those are my favorites. What about you?
Yeah, mine are pretty similar. I actually started off learning, I guess, C++ in high school, and college did Java. Um, there's some interesting stuff there, especially since even it hasn't been that long since I've been out of school, but Java's come kind of far even in just that little time as far as fixing a lot of the complaints about slowness. So that's been interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
Also do a little bit of Python. Done some kind of crazy stuff in, I guess, what is that, LabVIEW and Visual Basic here and there. A little bit of C Sharp.
Oh, nice.
And did a little iPhone programming, so that'd be Objective C.
Yep.
So that's pretty much, but mostly, I'd say 90% of my stuff's been in, C, C++.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, those are, as a programmer out there, if you're a kid starting to get into programming, those are going to be your core languages that you'll always have to keep, coming back to.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and in some places, I guess, people tell me, it hasn't been my experience yet, but people tell me that there's places where Java is, the de facto standard. But I think learning C or C++ or Java, you can transition back and forth with a little bit of training, but not too much. The concepts are pretty similar.
Yeah, definitely. And then there are some languages like Go and Erlang, and Lisp and Prolog, which are just way off the charts, and you really have to, change the way you think and change your paradigm to get your hands around those languages.
Yeah. I mean, I had a conversation about this with somebody at work talking about that, I had been doing C++ for a little while and really liked some of the, object-oriented stuff that we were doing in there. And then had to write some C code for a very low level processor, and was able to take a lot of this stuff I learned out of C++ and use it in C, even without, this doing classes. The stuff that you learn is applicable. And I try to
Yeah.
do the same with, Python, or, hopefully as part of this, getting into, like Haskell, OCaml, like you talked about, Lisp, Scheme, whatever, those kind of languages, and not even just writing code in them, but taking the lessons learned, the way of thinking, and applying that to my everyday coding.
Yeah, definitely. It always seems like every language has one or two things that it can teach you just about programming and about computation in general.
Yeah. Make you
And
feel a little
so,
bit smarter.
yeah, that's right. That's what we're doing. Our goal here is to make everybody out there feel a little smarter and a little better about, software engineering and make you feel good about yourself.
And challenge you to broaden your horizons,
That's right. That's right. Horizons will be broadened.
whether you like it or not. But hopefully you'll like it.
It could be against your will. It's possible that you have this playing in your car stereo and you're engaged in the highway and cannot turn it off. So we apologize. We pity you.
Pull
That's
over
okay.
now.
Yeah, it's not worth it. I know you have to get to work, but
And if you're still with us, despite all of that convincing persuasion,
that's right. So yeah, let's talk about the tool of the day.
all right.
Let's see. What would my tool of the day be
Do you
today?
have one?
Yeah, I'm just going through my programs
Or
here.
you're looking on your computer.
I guess I could talk about comics with an X.
Comics with an X.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right.
So my tool of the day is Comix, Comix. And the way this works is it's a comic book reader. Oh, actually, if you search for comics,
It's the
you
third.
get a bunch
third
of
one.
weird. Yeah, it goes under the title GTK Comic Book Viewer. But basically, the way it works is comics come in this format called CBZ, and they also have another format called CBR. And all it is just a zip file with a bunch of images in it, or in the CBR case, a RAR file. What this comics does is it opens the zip in memory, it loads all the pictures, and it provides this really slick interface for you to go through the comics. So you can hit spacebar and it'll go from frame to frame, like it kind of intelligently figures out the layout or guesses at the layout of the comic, and will let you navigate through and let you read the comics faster. It does also some sampling and things like that to make them a little sharper, make the images clearer. So I use it a lot. I like it.
So do you use this mostly on your computer at home, or on your phone, or?
Yeah, so I mainly use this on my MacBook when I travel. That's most of the time when I'm reading comics, I'm traveling, and I believe they have a version. If it's not comics, it'll be something else. But they have comic book readers for the